Greetings! It is I, Tantus Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It's time to continue our discussion on EARTHDAWN. We were talking about blood magic. I'm going to talk to you about sacrifice magic, the most powerful form of blood magic that exists. Sacrifice magic, you have to be conscious, and you have to be capable of acting in order to use it. When you use sacrifice magic, you give up your life to one final act of power, some kind of final attack, or some kind of final mystical energy you are spiting upon the world, upon your enemies, just to throw it out there, some kind of massive energy, traditionally heroic. One that has died in this way cannot be resurrected by any known means. None of the normal ways that someone could be saved from death, resurrected, does not work when one gives himself up to sacrifice. A player would work with their game master to determine what the sort of effects are. There are many effects that you can give up when you're effectively giving up your life in this matter. But there are 4 listed here, which I will talk about. 4 suggestions. Let's go over them. First off is the dying act. This is one last act you're getting as you're being struck down. The last final blow that you get just to give up your life at the very end. You're in a position where you're effectively going to die. You give up your life a little sooner just to have one powerful act. You declare your intentions to use this before your turn. And when you get to your turn, you have the option of using it then. You roll your step test, and you add 1 die for every karma point you have remaining. Now, regardless of whether this test is successful or not, you will die. You will die when your test is over. Failure doesn't mean anything to you. You still die. Now, you can back out of this, though. Once you've declared your intention to use the dying act, before you roll the die, you can choose to stop it. But there is a consequence for drawing on this power, because you were drawing on this sacrifice magic power. You receive 3 blood magic wounds, which cannot heal for a year and a day. Again, like before, you can use healing potions in order to remove this. Now, when one is using the dying act, they do have the option of pushing a talent or ability beyond its normal limits, like I also talked about previously. You are allowed to combine that with your dying act. Now, the dying curse is a curse that you place upon an enemy, a location, or an item in your sort of dying breath. It functions as a major curse, which I will talk about in a much, much later episode about curses, but it functions as one with a step equivalent to either the cursor's thread weaving or perception step. It can have a variety of effects to hampering skills or talents or causing other more horrible effects that the game master and the cursor are going to discuss to sort of build it together. It is important to note, though, if you place it upon a location, it functions as a trap or a ward. And all its relevant statistics are once again based upon your thread weaving step or your perception step, whichever is higher once again. So, I come up with the idea of cursing something, I'm using my dying curse. My game master and I, as the cursor, figure out all the various statistics and how it's going to work. It doesn't have to go off right away. It could be years, generations before this curse takes effect. But we'll sort of work together to figure out when and how this is going to curse this creature, location, or thing. Now, the dying legacy creates a true pattern. You either create it on an item or a place. Of course, it has to be involved with the person who's creating the pattern. It has to have been connected to them. If you're creating an item, it becomes a legendary item. It's important to note that many of the legendary items we find nowadays were created in the early days of the Scourge, where adepts were basically falling to horrors, and they decided to use their dying breaths, their dying legacies, to create these items to help fight against the horrors for the future, for the next adept that's going to face against them. It's important to note that all the key knowledges that are created through this process of the dying legacy are going to be the ones that are intrinsically linked between the dying legacy's user and the item that they are creating into the true pattern. Now, of course, I can add my true pattern to a location. This location has to be either associated with my dying character's birth, life, where they lived, or where they died. This place will develop its own pattern items naturally from then on. But effectively, you're placing your spirit, your pattern, into this place. It will be intrinsically linked to both your life and your death. And then the last one I will talk about today is the dying oath. The dying oath is a oath you swear between a dying character and another ally. You're basically forcing that person to swear to you that they will accomplish something for you. Usually this accomplishment, this oath will be to perhaps avenge the character that is dying, or perhaps to accomplish some kind of task that they failed, some kind of quest that they failed to complete in life, that they wish to have completed for them, and they have the oath sworn. Both creatures, both the person initiating the oath and the one swearing it, must be willing for this to take place. Effectively, the dying character will provide abilities to the surviving character in order for them to better accomplish this task. The surviving character gains all of the dying character's remaining karma points. These karma points will be noted separately on the surviving character. They can use these karma points when making any test associated with accomplishing the oath, avenging them, completing the task, whatever it is. If it's towards completing the oath, then they can use those karma points. And these karma points do not recover. Once you have used them, they are gone. Once the oath is fulfilled, the points are lost. The points also fade in a year and a day. But should you have them fade in this way, your karma points do not recover naturally for a year and a day after this point in time. You effectively have lost out in succeeding on your oath, and you do get a little backlash from it. So that's it for today. I introduced you to sacrifice magic, a powerful kind of magic, type of blood magic your character can use as a last resort, giving up their life in order to accomplish some kind of powerful task, whether one dying act, to curse those that were striking you down, to create an item or some kind of pattern that is your legacy, or to give a bonus to another, to swear another to an oath to complete a task that you have and grant them the strength to do so. All of them are powerful forms of blood magic, sacrifice magic. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about the last part of blood magic, familiars. But until then, if you have any questions, comments, anything to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. It shows you support the channel, the empire, the work I do. If you want to show some extra support, you can always check out my Patreon, link in the description below. But regardless, until the next time, I bid you farewell.